Hi everyone, welcome back to the Dr. Sia channel. In this video here today, I want to talk about a concept called filtering and how it affects people who have an avoidant, an ambivalent, and a disorganized attachment. Let's get started. Right, so what is filtering? Filtering is my own term, by the way, but it's based on my experience as a therapist and lots of underlying research that kind of lies under this concept of filtering. No one's ever kind of brought this together to call it filtering, but I have. In essence, what is filtering? And filtering is the biased memory of people with an avoidant, ambivalent, and disorganized attachment. Now, this biased memory, it causes a lot of problems in relationships. In this video here, I'm going to be talking about the avoidant attachment, but in my subsequent two videos, I'm going to talk about how this biased memory caused by filtering affects people with an ambivalent attachment and a disorganized attachment. So, people who have an avoidant attachment have been criticized, harshly kind of rejected by their parents from their childhood. If you don't know much about avoidant attachment, please check out my other videos. I have lots of videos on avoidant attachment and on attachment in general. So what happens for these people then is that from an early age, more often than not, they begin to learn that if they can avoid a source that could be hurtful and emotionally or physically painful source, that in a way is going to stop the hurt from coming in the future. So basically what they'll learn is that to learn to avoid social situations, they learn to avoid opening up, they learn to avoid really truly genuinely being themselves, holding back on information, holding back on their wants, on their needs, on their desires, on their thoughts, on their beliefs, in case they will get criticized, judged, put down, hurt by other people. So what also happens then for this person is that how come a lot of my students have asked me, how come the world doesn't kind of correct that for people with an avoidant attachment who kind of don't have bad experiences, people who have lots of nice people around them, people who have lots of kind people around them, people who have lots of pleasant people around them, how come kind of the first 4 years, 5 years, 6 years of their life taints the rest of their life? I mean, wouldn't you assume that sooner or later at some point they kind of stop believing that people are going to reject them when for 30 years no one's ever rejected them? Well, herein comes the idea of filtering, and herein comes the idea of a biased memory. You see, what happens is when we're at a very young age, our brain creates a reality. It creates an understanding of our world. Now, unless somebody addresses that understanding intentionally or kind of focuses on that understanding with us, our mind just wants to repeat itself. It wants to conserve as much energy as possible. So for that reason, you don't have to learn the English language every day anew. You don't have to learn everything that you've known over and over and over again every day anew, because the brain doesn't reset. The brain learns and then goes into this biased place where it just learns to confirm what you already know over and over and over and over again, and does what I call filter out. It filters out any disconfirming evidence. It filters away any evidence against what you have already learned. You might notice this. For example, I had a friend, and not about avoidant attachment, but I had a friend, for example, who instead of saying vogue, used to say vague. Now for this person, they don't have a speech impediment, they don't have a speech problem, they are otherwise really fine, but no matter how many times they've heard other people say vogue after that, they still just heard vague. They say it vague, like that, vague. And one time I pointed that out. I said, you know, whenever you want to kind of say Vogue, and she was really into Vogue bags, whatever. Well, she was like, I was like, well, you know, when you say Vogue, can you hear that I'm saying Vogue and you're saying vague? And she's like, what are you? I said, what are you saying? I'm like, Vogue. And she's like, Vogue. Yeah, Vogue. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, are you? She's like, Vogue. Oh no, I've been saying vague. How long have I been doing that for? It's a very small, silly example, but if you think about it, it's an important one, because it's like her brain was just filtering. Filtering out every time anyone said anything different, it just disconfirmed. It would disconfirm her idea of vague. And so she would just think about it as vogue. Similarly, when a person has an avoidant attachment, they kind of filter out anyone who says anything or does anything different to what they initially believe. So if they believe, for example, this person is going to be rejecting and this person is not rejecting, unless they kind of have someone that consolidates that for them, kind of asks them, says, see, you have this idea that this person is going to be rejecting, but they're not rejecting. Can you see that? If you don't kind of consolidate that memory, understand that memory, intellectualize about that memory, rationalize over that memory, over that experience, what happens about it is that it kind of just goes away. You forget it. Over 30 years, you'll remember every person who ever criticized you. You won't remember or recognize or, in a way, encode all of the people who didn't criticize you, who never had the intention of criticizing you. And instead, what you do is you say, those people who didn't criticize me is because I was avoidant, is because I pulled back, is because I held back on information, is because they didn't know of what is going on for me. I didn't tell them, and that's what happened. The only reason people who haven't rejected me is that they don't know about the things that I know about me, and if they knew, they would reject me. And either way, I have lots of rejecting people around me. My best friend rejected me 15 years ago. My partner rejected me 10 years ago, and so on and so forth it goes. And that's just because brains, my brain, your brain, their brains, everyone's brains, want to reconfirm the already established patterns that are there. And with an avoidant attachment, the person's brain just wants to reconfirm for them that if they can just keep information tightly held within themselves such that nobody knows what's going on for them, their thoughts, their feelings, their beliefs, their ideas, their urges, if nobody knows that, then nobody can really hurt them. And yes, indeed, people are in general critical, judgmental, out to get you, out to hurt you somehow. What doesn't allow them to overcome this, and what you can help them with, for example, if you're a friend or a therapist or whatever, or if you're listening to this, is to start helping them see situations that are different to that, and to help them see that their brain just doesn't allow them to see that their brain doesn't allow them to encode. Help them understand that they are not risking rejection. In fact, what they are risking is the possibility of acceptance. This is what every avoidant attachment does not see, that they are not avoiding rejection, they are in fact avoiding acceptance. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you let me know what you think about it. Drop a comment. Let me know if your experience is any different to that. Have you ever heard about this idea of filtering before? Is it interesting to you? Would you like for me to talk about it more? All of your ideas are important. In the next video, or in this series at least of filtering, I'll be talking about ambivalent attachment and filtering. So I hope I see you there, and thank you very much.